Hello everyone and welcome back to O'Neill Cylinder Construction in Kerbal Space Program 1.12 with Realism Overhaul. As you can see, or perhaps can't see, we've got a shadow over the station carrier. That's why it's shrouded in a shadow at the moment. But in any case, we proceed with the launch of one of the clear plates on the station. So for each segment there's 3 clear plates and 3 populated plates, and so 6 plates altogether for each section, and there's 6 sections altogether. And the clear plates are the same mass as the populated plates because we're just counting the structure of it. We're not really counting, actually, because it's clear and probably that makes it materially heavier, but let's set that aside for now. It's just the structure of it, not like the soil on the populated plates or the buildings or stuff like that. I want to make it clear it's just like the bare minimum that you could do to make a structure like this, not all the stuff that you could pack in. So that's important. And here we go. Now the rocket is clear and we proceed with the huge construction project, 150-meter radius, 1.2 kilometers in length, and many RCS burns necessary to rendezvous with what we already have. That's what you're hearing right now. That's the sound of the RCS thrusters at the top, because they're basically as large as engines anyway for something this size. They probably would sound like that. Now, this is a relatively short video, but it took a long time to do everything with the RCS burns and with the docking having to be done very carefully. So you'll have to forgive me, but it's basically because I cut out the vast majority of what I did. Anyway, here I am parking alongside and then releasing the plate, which, depending on the lighting, looks very different at times. And then carefully approaching. And yes, I am using docking alignment indicator because that has proved necessary in this case. I usually avoid that sort of thing. But as in the previous video, our plates don't seem to like to dock necessarily, and this time it was persistent. It just refused to dock and kept clipping in. So no matter how many times I moved it away and brought it back or went to the tracking station, it would just keep clipping into the other part. And so ultimately I had to check the colliders, and I tweaked the colliders in Unity and brought the part back in and then reapproached. I didn't have to like relaunch it or anything. I just needed to update the model file, and this time it should work after the collider tweaking. See very, very carefully. Well, I mean, it's actually my normal docking speed. It's just that because the thing is so huge, it looks really slow. But anyway, it did work, and this is the extension of the first clear plate. Just sort of a slidey thing. Simple animation. Didn't want to make it complicated, but there it is. And again, each plate is about 1,700 tons. That's what we're talking about here. So it could be much heavier if you included all the other stuff that would go into an O'Neill cylinder, that's for sure. Anyway, next launch with another clear plate. And mercifully the cloud has cleared, so we can see the station launcher lifting off here. I am at Cape Canaveral because it always defaults to the KSC pad at Cape Canaveral. Tampico, I have to tell Kerbal Constructs to launch from Tampico, and I always forget to do that. I decided to just go ahead once I noticed that it was at Cape Canaveral. Because actually with the station carrier it takes a few moments for it to settle down. It's very wobbly when I actually bring it out to the pad, and it takes a little bit before its velocity is low enough so I can start time warping to line up with the station, because of course we can only launch when it's all lined up in the inclination, and also the station should be just behind the launch site so that when we launch it's not going to take a long time to rendezvous. Otherwise the boil off occurs and we don't have enough fuel to rendezvous even with the RCS thrusters. Still haven't fixed the separatrons on the boosters though. I know I should move them, but well, so far they haven't hit anything yet. So normalization of deviance, that's called. But anyway, on it goes, from Cape Canaveral, it's easier than Tampico to get to the particular inclination. Not that much easier. It's just closer in inclination to the inclination that the station was launched into. So here we go, wrapping up the burn. And there we are in orbit. And again, a whole sequence of RCS burns to rendezvous. This time I think I actually used the engines for a little bit for some of it. I'm tempted to increase the thruster power just so that I can do the RCS burns a little bit quicker, but they are already very big. So there is a downside there. Feel like... I forget exactly how much thrust they are, but they're pretty darn big. Anyway, we do manage to get over to the station. Well, I keep calling it a station, the cylinder. Really, space settlement. The space settlement. And here we are approaching with the long view, as it were. Trying not to get too close. You know, there could be problems like that. And off goes the plate. It is a stack separator because nominally the station carrier is supposed to be able to come back down. It is a really, really big pod with a heat shield at the bottom, but I've already dumped the ablator on the heat shield so that we could carry these plates a little bit easier. So it really can't come back down. It doesn't have any parachutes or anything like that. But still, I still use a stack separator because the heat shield should be clear. Anyway, here approaching. And I usually dock at 0.1 meters per second. Here we're approaching at 0.23, 0.2 there on the docking alignment indicator. And it's just nice to see the docking when it's daylight so we can see the planet underneath. That's nicer than docking in the dark. And there we go. So, second clear plate docked, and the construction continues. And the station carrier is still hanging out there. It's what looks like a moon because of its heat shield. But anyway, so just a quick video update on the progress of the O'Neill cylinder. And with that, I'll say thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.